Everyone to tonight's Community Development Commission meeting for May 18th, 2026. My name is Sarah Callis, and I am the City Attorney for the Community Development Commission. Mr. Chairman, if you would please call the meeting to order.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Wooddale Community Development Commission. My name is Jim Parenti. I am the chairman for the Wooddale Community Development Commission. Ms. Callis, will you please call the roll?
Certainly. Mr. Guzik?
Present.
Ms. Yeager-Retnitke?
Here.
Mr. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Sweeney?
Present.
Ms. Zatko?
Here.
Mr. Ta?
Here.
Chairman Parenti?
Here.
Okay.
The CDC has a quorum present. We need a motion to approve the meeting minutes from February 23rd, 2026. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes, February 23rd, 2026.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
All in favor, say yes.
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 All opposed, state no. The motion carries. The minutes are approved.
Moving on to our public hearing. Ms. Callis, as chairman, I request that you serve as the public hearing facilitator.
All right. I will serve as the hearing facilitator for tonight's meeting, which just means that I keep the meetings running and going, moving along, and I don't take a position on anything. For our public hearings, all testimony will be given under oath. At the hearing, there will be an opportunity for the public to offer testimony and to comment. Following the public hearing, the CDC's deliberations will be open to the public in the sense that all are invited to listen and to watch. The public, however, may not speak during our deliberations. We ask that the applicants here tonight give specific evidence to demonstrate that the proposal meets the standards of approval for the request. The burden is on the applicant to prove the case. Additionally, city staff will provide a general description of the proposal, followed by their analysis. With respect to others who wish to speak, you may give an opinion or present specific evidence as to why you believe the applicant meets or fails to meet the standards of the request. Finally, we will adhere to the schedule prepared for tonight's meeting. However, those wishing to submit evidence and testimony will be afforded sufficient time within which to do so. Whether you are a member of the public wishing to make a statement for the record or a witness testifying on behalf of the applicant, you will be placed under oath and begin by stating your name and address. You will be subject to questions by the Community Development Commission and potential cross-examination by the applicant. To allow as many people as possible to be heard, we would request that you keep your remarks limited to 5 minutes. If additional time is needed, the hearing will be continued until the next available hearing date. Calling tonight's first matter, CDC 2026-0002. This case involves an application filed by Arco Murray National Construction on behalf of the Broadstone Net Lease, Inc. for zoning variations for reduction of the number of required parking spaces, increase of the building height, and site plan review to facilitate the redevelopment of the property located at 1501 North Middle Boulevard to construct a 156,000 square foot speculative warehouse and distribution facility located at 1501 North Middle Boulevard. Let's begin. Staff, please indicate when notice of the hearing was published and whether you have the certificate of publication from the newspaper. But before you provide your statement, I will administer the oath. Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Gosha Pocheja, Senior Planner, 404 North Wooddale Road, Wooddale, Illinois.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
All right. Does staff have a presentation?
We do, and I did want to note the public hearing for this public hearing was published in Daily Herald on May 1st. We do have a certificate of publication on file, and also notices were mailed to property owners within 150 feet of the subject property, and a public hearing sign was placed on the subject property.
Thank you. You may proceed with the
Thank you.
presentation.
Applicant. If it's okay,
Oh.
the applicant would go first.
Sure.
Good evening, Commissioners and City staff. My name is Tom Safransky. I'm a civil engineer with Kimley Horn, and we are serving as the civil engineer of record for Arco Murray and Broadstone Net Lease. Brianna De Leon with Arco Murray is also here with me tonight to help answer any questions you may have. We are here tonight to request site plan review and review of the 2 proposed variances we are requesting.
I'm just going to interrupt real quickly.
Yes.
Can we please have you get sworn in?
Yes,
Could you state and spell your name for the record?
sure. My name is Tom Safransky. That's SZAFRANSKI.
And I'll
I-
administer the oath. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
And my address is 4201 Winfield Road, Warrenville, Illinois. All right. So Broadstone Net Lease was established in 2007, and they are an industrial-focused, diversified net lease REIT that invests in single-tenant commercial real estate properties net leased on a long-term basis to a diversified group of tenants. They primarily and selectively invest in real estate across industrial and retail property types. They focus on establishing long-standing relationships with credit-worthy tenants who occupy properties with strong real estate fundamentals. Their diversified strategy has been proven to produce consistent and reliable results for stockholders through multiple real estate cycles. They own 773 properties across the United States and Canada, 30 of which are here in Illinois, and 18 of those are here in the Chicago 5 collar counties. This is the proposed site we're here to discuss tonight, 1501 Middle Boulevard. It is at the northeast corner of Lewis Drive and Middle Boulevard in the Chancellery Business Park. It's a strategic location for Broadstone, located near O'Hare and with easy access to multiple interstates. And Broadstone acquired this property in 2016, so they've owned it for quite some time, and they intend to do so for the foreseeable future following the proposed redevelopment. And it's a 8.3 acre site. This is the proposed site plan with a speculative 156,000 square foot warehouse building located in the center of the site. It's got automobile parking on the south, east, and west sides, and a truck court on the north side with 16 dock doors, with the option to expand to 30 total dock doors. It's got fire access lanes on all 4 sides of the building, and the layout here does a good job of separating the automobile traffic from the truck traffic with the different access and circulation drives. The proposed building is 32-foot clear interior height, and we're proposing 155 parking stalls. We are requesting a parking variance of 28 stalls. According to the Institute of Transportation Engineers' 6th edition of the Parking Generation Manual, the peak average parking demands for warehousing uses a ratio of 0.37 parking stalls per 1,000 square foot of building area. Similarly, for light industrial uses, that ratio they use is 0.67 parking stalls per 1,000 square feet of building area. We are currently proposing a ratio of 0.99 parking stalls per 1,000 square foot of building area, which is aligned with the industry norms for industrial developments, as well as several of the surrounding communities in this area. We're also requesting a variance for the maximum building height. The proposed warehouse is consistent with all applicable industry standards for this building type, including standard interior clear heights for modern distribution and logistic facilities. The requested variance from the maximum permissible building height is not a product of an oversized or non-conforming structure, but rather a site-induced hardship arising from two conditions outside of our control: the existing site topography and the city's methodology for calculating building height. The proposed building incorporates a 32-foot interior clear height, a figure that represents the current market standard for Class A industrial warehouses constructed and is routinely approved in comparable jurisdictions throughout the region. This clear height is not excessive. It is the functional minimum required to serve modern racking, material handling equipment, and operational efficiencies for proposed tenants. The exceedance of the city's height limitation is a direct consequence of the grade differential between the finished floor elevation and the adjacent roadway. On this next slide, I've got two images here. On the right is a rendering of the proposed building, which again is your 32-foot clear height, Class A norm type warehouse facility. On the left is a photo from the intersection of Lewis and Middle. And the way that the city's ordinance calculates building height is measured from the curb of that adjacent street, not necessarily the floor of the proposed building. Just in this image alone, you could see that there's plus or minus 6 feet of elevation change right in the public right-of-way as you approach the property line from the street curb. And there's some additional grade change as you travel into the site. And so that delta is getting added to the 32-foot clear height, which is ultimately why we're here asking for this variance. Outside of this image here, there is roughly 15 feet of elevation change east-west across this site. And then north-south, about 8 feet of elevation change. And so really it's just a function of trying to tie out to all 4 property lines on all sides, and the way that situates the building is such that the floor of the building is higher than the adjacent curb of the street. I know the staff report goes into a lot of great detail as well. So beyond that, I'm available for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay. Does the CDC have any questions?
The current building is empty on the site?
Yes, it is.
Taken.
And the stalls, I think you mentioned 16 truck stalls, and that can be added to up to 30, I think is what you said?
Correct. 16 dock doors on that north elevation.
Do you see any issue if that 30 number became relevant, that would affect the parking?
No, so that would be strictly for truck operations. It wouldn't necessarily equate to additional employees or staff count. And so the one parking stall per 1,000 square foot really is what I've seen in my experience working in the industrial market. And so regardless of, the building size itself has the capacity for the 30 dock doors, and I would say that's pretty normal for a developer to maximize that. But still, that 1,000 or the one stall per 1,000 is a normal need for parking demands in this market.
Thank you.
Any other questions before staff gives their presentation? All right.
Thank you.
Gosia, if you would proceed.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. I'm just going to switch over to our brief presentation. Thank you so much. So this is the location map. The applicant did a pretty good job locating. I think I just wanted to point out, we are kind of on the far north side of our municipal boundary, surrounded by the industrial district. And this is south of Devon. I did want to talk a little bit more about the existing conditions on site. This is a current plat of survey, and you can see there is an existing L-shaped building. It is a single-story office building, and it's surrounded by parking lot. The intent of the developer is to demolish the existing building and the parking lot and construct a new sort of warehouse and distribution facility. Could be used for warehouse, the distribution, or it could be limited manufacturing based on the zoning that it's located in. And then obviously the parking lot will be redone. Part of the improvements will include landscaping throughout the new site, and it will include some utility work. The proposed site plan you can see over here, so this is the building pretty much optimized on the subject property. We did look as part of our site plan review at lot development standards. They're covered a little bit more in detail, and that's how we came across the two variations that are needed. The loading docks will be here on the north side. Some of the things that I wanted to point out, this is actually a landscape plan. There will be a screen wall on the north side and landscaping to try to limit that visibility of the loading areas as much as possible. This is a rendering that we've seen before, very typical for a lot of our industrial zoning district, new industrial facilities, concrete panels essentially put together. Some of them will have some texture stamped colors, different colors and so on, just to create a little bit more visibility. There will be foundation landscaping. In addition, there will be landscaping around the parking lot and the site perimeter landscaping as well that would meet our current code requirement. And that really takes us to the point of this public hearing. So ultimately, the developer would have the option to construct this building, to apply for a demo permit and construct a building with just staff overview, which would be a site plan review. However, during the site plan review, which is the administrative process, we discovered that there are two variations from the code that the applicant is not able to meet. So really the purpose of the meeting tonight is not necessarily the development in the whole, but it is the zoning variations that are being requested. So the first one, as the applicant outlined, is the required number of parking spaces. They are seeking a reduction in that number, and then the other one is the building height. So those are the two items that are to be considered by CDC tonight. A little bit more about the parking lot requirement. So the UDO currently would require 183 parking spaces. The project architect and the engineers did a couple variations, and I know worked with a number, and ultimately they were able to provide 155. The applicant's statement and the staff memo elaborate a little bit more on this, but ultimately they looked at the existing access points and circulation and the fact that there is a shared access point on the north that they wanted to utilize, and quite honestly, that is the best location for the loading docks. It's the best way to actually hide them from, to be able to actually provide screening. So there were certain constraints on site that they had to work with in order to design the whole building. And because of that, they weren't able to provide all of the code necessary parking spaces. Another thing that's also important is the fact that they are citing credible sources in terms of what would be their actual required parking, or what is the industry standard. So they are citing the Institute of Transportation Engineers as the applicant outlined. So those are sort of the two things that they've outlined in their request in support of their variation request to reduce the number of parking spaces. The other item is the building height. So our UDO specifically says the maximum building height is 45 feet. However, our UDO includes a definition of how to measure that. And in a lot of cases, we would assume we would measure the building height right from the grade that's right at the building to the highest point of the roof. The way our definition is currently written, we have to measure from the public right-of-way, either from the sidewalk, or if there's no sidewalk, from the curb at the street. As the applicant mentioned, there is a significant grade difference. So ultimately, the building they're proposing is very similar to other industrial buildings. It meets the standards, and it meets the clear height that is required for a lot of the racking and operation of the tenants inside. However, it doesn't meet our UDO because of the specific site conditions. So that's why they had to request this zoning variation. In terms of compliance with the comprehensive plan, so anytime a request for relief comes in, we also want to make sure that it meets the UDO, but it also meets the comprehensive plan. The property is designated industrial business park. It's located in our industrial zoning district. Really, the use that is being proposed is consistent with the land use category that we have in the future land use map for that particular location. It definitely helps to achieve multiple goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan, so it is in compliance with it. Economic development, enhancement of curb appeal, and also kind of keeping the development in line with the market needs, because there's definitely industrial properties, especially warehouse and distribution. That's something that is very desirable, especially in our location. In terms of site plan review, very briefly, this is administrative process. That was something that where we look at the overall of the zoning requirements. We did have our city engineer do the review. We sometimes reach out to consultants in specific trades that need to be done. We are able to say that except for those 2 zoning variations that are being requested, it meets the zoning code requirements. And ultimately, it is approved subject to the approval of the zoning variances being requested. And as I mentioned, this is administrative, very similar to our permit review process. Public comment, after publication of the notices, we haven't really received any inquiries or questions regarding this petition as of the meeting, right before the meeting. And just to recap our recommendation, staff does believe that the request is consistent with a comprehensive plan, consistent with the UDO, and meets the standards of approval. The specific responses to standards are provided in the staff memo. Therefore, staff recommends that CDC recommend approval to the City Council of the 2 zoning variations requested. Thank you.
Thank you, Gosia. Does any member of the Community Development Commission have any questions for staff?
With the 6 accessible spots, that meets the requirement,
That is correct, yes.
and the leasing obviously is not determined yet because you're going to redo the building.
That is correct. Yeah, that was one of the questions that we had, but it's the tenants are unknown.
But the group is proposing that it's going to be one company that's going to lease the entire building. It will not be divided.
If you wouldn't mind stepping up to the podium, please. Thank you.
I guess my best answer right now is to be determined. As of right now, we are planning for the potential for an office at both the southeast and the southwest corners of the building, so it could be split in half. I believe there's also the potential that if it could be subdivided up to 4 times. And so as of right now, we are showing the accessible parking stalls at both the southeast and the southwest corners, but we are designing such that if there were additional middle office locations, if this building were to be split into 4, that those could easily be striped to be accessible, and then we can in turn then restripe some of the ones on either end, just essentially shuffle up the 6 stalls.
So the number will the number increase for accessible parking at that point?
It'll be reduced from the one.
6 is not divisible by 4. You
Correct.
can't have half spots. Will each location, if you do, or each business, if you do go to 4, will they have like 2 accessible spots per company? You don't.
So, if I may, so the parking requirements are based on the area of the total building, almost regardless of how many tenants are inside. We looked at the total area of the building, total area of the office, and that produces a number. And in this case, I believe it's like 188. Then we look at the table of required accessible parking spaces, and it gives us a range. If you have, let's say, between like 150 to 200, you have to provide that many accessible parking spaces. Those are the minimums. The parking lot, the way designed that is proposed right now, meets those minimums. The applicant has the ability to move those parking spaces depending on what the need is. Technically, they would not be required to increase that number or provide minimum of 2 per. We look at the total parking lot, how many parking spaces are in the entire parking lot, and that provides the number 6 in this case. They could increase that number, but they have to meet at least 6.
Is it possible for the city to hold the spots? Like if there are 4 companies going in, we can hold the companies to make one of their spots an accessible spot.
So when they come in with the tenants, the applicant will be required to provide the closest path to the entry, so that's definitely something that we can look. But in terms of the number of required spaces, it really, once again, we're looking at the total parking lot. So I don't think we can be very specific that it has to be that number, because some of the tenant spaces may be larger than the other, depending on where the wall dividing it will come in. But it's not based on the square footage of the tenant space. It's really based on the total building and the total parking lot.
Are there any other questions? Okay. So now we will open up the floor to questions from members of the public. Does anybody else present this evening have something they would like to comment or a question for the applicant or staff? Okay. So no additional testimony will be admissible once we close the public hearing. All right. Having no additional testimony, do we have a motion to close the public hearing for case number CDC 2026-0002? Anyone can say so moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We will do a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Guzik? Yes. Ms. Yeager-Rutnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Ms. Satko?
Yes.
Mr. Ta?
Yes.
Chairman Parenti?
Yes.
Okay, we have a unanimous vote. The motion carries, and the motion passes. Okay, so the public hearing portion is closed, and we are now entering the portion where the CDC deliberates. Does any CDC member have any statements or comments that they may wish to make at this time? Okay. There being no further discussion, I am looking for a motion. Based on the submitted petition and the testimony presented, the proposed zoning variations are consistent with the Unified Development Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan. And therefore, I move that the Community Development Commission adopt the findings of fact included within the staff memo dated May 18th, 2026, as the findings of the Community Development Commission, and recommend to the City Council approval of the zoning variations to reduce the required number of vehicle parking spaces from 183 to 155, and increase the building height from 45 feet to 51.03 feet for property located at 1501 North Middle Boulevard in case number CDC 2026-0002. Do we have that motion, and anyone can say so moved?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We will do a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Guzik?
Yes.
Ms. Yeager-Rutnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Ms. Satko?
Yes.
Mr. Ta?
Yes.
And Chairman Parenti?
Yes.
All right, we have 7 votes in favor. Having received the required affirmative vote, the motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, calling tonight's second matter, CDC 2026-0004. This case involves an application filed by Michael Schaub for a zoning variation to allow a 6-foot tall privacy fence in the corner side yard of the property located at 218 South Cedar Street. The existing fence was constructed in a prohibited location without obtaining the necessary building permit. The applicant is seeking a zoning variation to allow the existing fence to remain. All right, let's begin. Staff, please indicate when notice of the hearing was published and whether you have the certificate of publication from the newspaper. But before doing so, I will swear you in. Do you want to state your name for the record?
Yes. Andrew Coteras, planner, 404 North Wooddale Road, Wooddale, Illinois.
Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right.
Yes, the notice of public hearing was published in the Daily Herald newspaper on May 1st, 2026, and the certificate of publication is on file with the Community Development Department.
All right, thank you. Does the applicant have a presentation they'd like to? All right, if you would stand at the podium and I'll swear you in before you start. Could you please state and spell your name for the record and state your address?
Hello, my name is Michael Schaub. I live at 218 South Cedar Avenue in Wooddale. My last name is spelled S-H-A-U-B.
Thank you, and if you'd raise your right hand, please. And you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, you may begin.
Okay. This is a variance. Hi, my name is Michael Schaub, and this is a variance request for my property at 218 South Cedar in Wooddale. My house was built on a non-conforming lot by my uncle, Gordon Williams, in 1967, on what was supposed to be an interior lot. And this made my lot unusually close to the street, because that, where the street is, was supposed to be a house next to my uncle's house when he originally bought it. He always told me it was all woods there. The plans were made professionally, and that was the first problem with when I submitted my permit the first time, was I didn't have the correct paperwork because I didn't really know what to do. So I had someone draw out the plans and where the fence goes in respect to the lot and the utilities around the property. And then this was the required, like, with the fence and how it's made and that the city requires. Where the red is where I constructed the fence, and then where the green is where the building guy wanted the fence to be put. However, there is a big tree right here and also right here. So I put the fence right here. In regards to my property and to keep the privacy and noise down from the street and the people walking by. Because when they put the street right next to my house, it made it so pretty much if you open up any window on the house, you can hear any cars drive by, any people walking by, and vice versa. This is how the fence was constructed. I made sure I made it look really nice with the nature. This is the first tree that the fence off the principal structure would go right into the center of. And then this is the second tree, which is a very, very, very large tree. The center, the tree would be that first one right there. The fence would hit. This is a view from the corner of my house, the back corner, right about here. And then the yellow is to mark, from the corner of the house, and then it would run right into that tree. Originally, I stated the financial hardship of moving the fence. However, upon review, I seen that that was not an acceptable hardship. And upon rethinking about this question, the hardship is the greatly reduced size of my corner side lot because of the re-subdivision of Spring Oaks Drive when they put the street in. This results in excessive noise on my property from passing vehicles and passersby due to my house being only 10 feet from the sidewalk. The current location of the fence greatly reduces noise in my yard and when I have my windows open. And a final hardship is the lack of privacy for my backyard. A person on the sidewalk could hear me in my backyard and vice versa. and that was like that for many years as my relatives lived there. The variation approval would maintain the noise reduction on the property with a sound barrier from my backyard to remedy the unique physical condition of the lot due to the Spring Oaks re-subdivision. My property is exceptional in the fact that my uncle had it built in 1967 before the street Spring Oaks was created and before these guidelines were created. My great aunt and uncle were two of the first residents on the block of South Cedar. The area where the street Spring Oaks was originally was supposed to be an adjoining interior lot to my property. The location of Spring Oak Street was originally supposed to be a single-family home and would have allowed for adequate utilization of my property. That lot was originally intended to contain a single-family home, but instead the lot was eliminated and Spring Oaks Street now runs through the land. When Spring Oaks Drive was constructed and connected to Cedar Street, the subject property at 218 South Cedar became a corner lot rather than an interior lot, resulting in the unique physical condition of a non-conforming corner side setback. As you can see in this photo. The house was built in 1967, and if the fence was put in at that time, without the street and sidewalk being there, the fence would have been between two houses. I did apply for the permit and was denied due to lack of documents, and reapplied with a professional plan with unrestricted access to the water shutoff buffalo box, electrical service pole for ComEd, and in compliance with the 30-foot site triangle for the corner. The changing of my fence would reduce the size of my backyard significantly, it increase noise in my backyard, and not give me the same utilization of my yard space as my neighbors who don't live in a corner lot. In addition, my corner lot size is much smaller than similar lots because of the changing of the subdivision that added the street in the early 1970s. The location of the fence would not be a special privilege, but rather give me the ability to retain my yard space as other lots have been able to do. Here are some examples of Wooddale properties with similar fences. This one was on Addison Road. This one is in the area near Georgetown. This one is also in the area near Georgetown, closer to Mill Road. This one is on Wooddale Road, very close to my house, across the street from the school. This one is also on Wooddale Road. And this one is near Irving Park Road, and by the school, I can't think of the school's name. Okay. Potter Street, that's it. And the fence is pretty much on the sidewalk, and it doesn't seem like that was a problem. The fence would be in harmony with the tree structure of my property and the tree structure of my neighbor's property, and creates a finished look to the area. Trees planted over many years ago spread the length of my fence, and my fence is located behind them. I checked with my neighbor, Stanley Smutek, on 198 Spring Oaks Drive. He's immediately behind me. if he approved of the fence's style and location. He stated that he already had trees and did not object as long as it did not interfere with his trees. The location of the fence does not cause any lack of vision for drivers, cause any problems with the environment or safety of the people. It doesn't interfere with parking or utilities, and it makes the neighborhood look better, especially during summer months. Neighbors have expressed that they like the fence, and it helps provide a safe feel to the neighborhood. I also live on a bus stop, and it's nice to not have kids have an extra 8 feet of area to possibly go in my yard, which they've done many times. The fence does not obstruct traffic views and is located behind the trees. This is the Wooddale site triangle that I looked up on the Wooddale website, and it shows that I need to have 30 feet along intersecting streets. And I have much more than that. So it does not interfere with making a left turn on this street, and it does not interfere with making a right turn onto my street. The Buffalo box, the water shutoff for the city, we made sure that it was outside of the fence so the city would have unrestricted access to it. The electrical poles is easily accessible from outside the fence also. This is the view from inside the fence, and that's the view from outside of it. The non-conforming layout of the property makes the following standard detrimental to my property and creates an area that is difficult to maintain. The suggested fence line would run into the tree and doesn't prevent people from letting their dog go to the bathroom on my property, which my relatives have had problems with for many, many years, because it's a darker area. They let the dog walk right in our house, right on our land, go to the bathroom and walk away like it never happened. I found this. I took this picture about a week ago, and that was left there. And that's only, with 3 feet of space, so at least I can find out where it is and clean it. Otherwise, I'm stepping on landmines in my backyard sometimes. I thank you for your time. I hope my presentation has met your expectations. I'm not really the most computer literate, but I did the best I could.
All right, thank you. Does any member of the CDC have any questions for the applicant at this time?
Yes, I do. With your sight lines, your triangle that you had, the 30-foot, my only concern is the two neighbors on Spring Oaks that are just, is it north of you? I've got this image with the yellow box around your property.
Okay.
All right. There's two homes.
Should I come look at it?
Well, that's from your packet?
It's west. West.
It is?
West.
Yes.
It's west? Okay.
We can bring up the image.
Yeah.
Yes, that one. The two homes west of yours, did those two residents provide letters in here?
These two residents?
Correct.
This one did.
Okay, my concern is with that 30-foot triangle to the left-hand turns coming off of Cedar.
Okay.
I know I've had a problem with my neighbor putting a hedge that goes about 8 feet from the street and backing out of our driveway. We've got to get extremely close to the street, that we've got cars flying down the street, You don't see them in time, but we can't do anything about it. You've got a fence now that blocks that left turn or the right turn from Cedar onto Spring Oaks. My concern being that have those two residents had any complaints about the fence being out there?
Never.
Okay.
And they know that they could always talk to me. I know pretty much every neighbor in the neighborhood.
Then that's fine with me. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. What is the distance, the utility pole that's outside of the fence? What's the difference between the fence and that pole?
We left quite a bit of distance, at least like this much, so that they would have enough room so they could climb up it and safely access the utilities on top.
And you previously applied for a permit for this?
I did.
Were denied?
I did. I was applied because I didn't have the proper plat of survey.
And the fence was constructed after the denial?
Yes. Well, I applied again, and I was waiting for the approval, and I had the plans made by someone in Wooddale that knew a lot about the city. And I had this neighbor here. She had her fence put up first, and so I bought the same type of material so it would all, look neighbor cohesive is the word, I think. And I bought the materials for this fence, and I had someone that I hired to help me dig the holes and put in the posts, and we were waiting for approval, and he ended up putting in the posts when I was at college. And I came home to post up, and I didn't know if they was approved, and I didn't know, or...
You didn't check with the city if it had been approved at all?
No, I didn't.
How long have you been in the house?
I've lived there for 10 years. 8 years I was taking care of my aunt and uncle. They passed away. And then I've been, maybe I've been there 12 years. They passed away 8 years ago, and I've lived there for 4 years.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions at this time? All right. Does staff have a presentation?
We do.
All right.
So,
Should I stay up here?
You can sit down, and then I might ask you to come back up if there are other questions for you.
thank you. Yes, so this is the fence, the property location with which we're already familiar. I won't dwell on that too long. And as noted in the staff memo and as already discussed, the 6-foot vinyl privacy fence is already existing. The homeowner applied for a building permit in September of 2024, so quite a while ago. However, that permit was rejected upon review by staff because it was in a location prohibited by the zoning code. A comment letter was issued to the applicant explaining the specific reasons for denial, as well as including a graphic showing what he could do. However, revised plans were never submitted. In January of this year, 2026, staff discovered that the fence had been installed without the necessary permit as originally proposed, which resulted in the issuance of a notice of violation. The applicants then subsequently applied for this zoning variation to allow the fence to remain. This is the installed fence location with which we're already familiar. And the primary reason for the denial of the permit is because the subject property is not adjacent to another corner lot. So what the zoning code says is that when two corner lots are adjacent to each other, the fence can extend from the rear wall of the home, which is the northwest corner of the home, directly to the side property line, which in this case is Spring Oaks Drive, and then to the rear property line. So if the home was adjacent to another corner lot, it could go like this. However, as kind of a technicality, because there is no other corner lot adjacent, or only two interior lots on the west and the south sides, basically a more restrictive set of rules applies. This is what a fully code compliant fence would look like. Basically, extending from the rear wall of the home directly to the rear property line, but importantly, not past the front wall of the adjacent home. And this kind of is because of those potential visibility and site triangle issues. And here are those side by side. What staff do support is perhaps what can be thought of as a compromise or in-between solution, whereby the fence would extend from that northwest corner of the home directly to the rear property line. It would be closer to the street than the adjacent home on Spring Oaks Drive, but it would be set back 10 feet from the street rather than the code required 25. To be clear, this would still require a zoning variation, just a less intensive one. And to be clear, the applicant would still be required to retroactively obtain a building permit. Typically, we charge a double permit fee for conducting work prior to issuance of a permit. In this case, it would be $160 instead of the typical $80. In terms of compliance with the comprehensive plan, the uses or the areas designated as single family, that would not change. The fence does not alter the residential character. However, it does alter the established setback line of Spring Oaks Drive. Originally, we received 3 public comments. However, late this afternoon, we received an additional 3 for a total of 6 neighbor comments. All spoke in support of the variation request. And they are on file with the Community Development Department, and hard copies have been provided to you. And this is our recommendation.
All right, thank you. Does any member of the Community Development Commission have any questions for staff? No? All right. Okay.
So if you give a variance to this person, what about when other people don't follow the system of getting the permit and then they're like, oh, I have a hardship because I can't afford to fix it because I didn't follow the system of getting an approved permit? I mean, personally, I don't know if this matters, but like, I wanted a pool, but we didn't qualify, so we didn't put the pool up. I didn't want my fence to be 6 feet or whatever, 6 inches, whatever that is for the flood zone, but I followed the rules, you know? Like, how do you justify doing the variances when you really should just follow the rules?
Yeah, so the way variations typically work is that they're applied for before the work is done, not afterwards. And so I think as noted in the staff memo, there is potential for setting a precedent.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the CDC? Okay. Is there any member of the general public who has anything that they would like to comment on or ask a question? All right. Having no additional testimony, do we have a motion to close the public hearing for case number CDC 2026-0004? Anyone can say so moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We will do a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Guzik?
Yes.
Ms. Yeager-Rudnicki?
No.
This is just a motion to close the public hearing.
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Ms. Zotko?
Yes.
Mr. Ta?
Yes.
And Chairman Parenti?
Yes.
All right, we have 7 unanimous votes in favor. The motion passes. So the public hearing portion is closed, and now we were entering the portion where the CDC deliberates. Does any CDC member have any statements or comments that they wish to make at this time? All right. I know staff has presented 2 possible motions, one expressed as a recommendation for approval of the variation and one expressed as a recommendation for denial of the variation. However, it is my recommendation that the commission entertain a motion recommending approval of the variation because the statutory zoning variation framework is structured in terms of whether the requested variation receives affirmative approval. If the motion for approval does not receive the necessary support, then the recommendation would effectively be a denial. So a yes vote would be to approve, a no vote would be to deny. Yes, a yes vote would be to approve the variation, and a no vote would be to deny recommendation of the variation. A yes vote would be to approve recommendation of the variation, and a no vote would be to deny. Before we go into the motion, I'd like to take a straw poll vote to see if staff has any, or not staff, if the members have any desire to specifically require, if they're inclined to allow the variation, from the rear of the northwest corner of the home. Is that something that the CDC wishes to consider or require?
So you're basically saying the fence would line up with the house and go straight back?
It would extend from the northwest corner of the rear of the house and extend to the rear property line.
What is the gap space between the proposed fence?
10 feet.
The sidewalk, was it?
10?
10 feet?
It's 10.5, 10 and a half.
10 and a half?
Does the CDC, let me maybe take a straw vote, is that something the CDC would like to see? Mr. Guzik, any comments?
I'm of the opinion, looking at it objectively, that the current location that the fence is installed in, I don't see it harming it in terms of aesthetics, sight lines. Overall, there's a decent amount of distance from the public walk to the fence. I think that's the way it's installed is fine. I don't like the concept of after the fact permit, but the way the fence is, I'm not upset by it.
Okay. Okay.
It's in a good spot for the character of the lot.
Okay. Ms. Yeager-Rudnicki?
I mean, there's systems in place for reasons, but, and then if other people just do whatever they want, it's just like, to me, that doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't look bad if that's what you're asking, in my opinion, but I just think that rules are made for reasons and.
Okay. Mr. Peterson?
I don't see anything wrong with it. I think we should probably pay the double fee for the permit. And should approve it.
Mr. Sweeney?
I think it looks okay. My issue, though, is that we're talking about this after the fact, and I think granting a variance here, and you kind of open Pandora's box for other people down the line.
So what about extending it from the northwest corner from the rear of the house towards the back of the
So, a
property?
staff-supported fence location, I'd be okay with that.
Okay. Ms. Zatko?
Yeah, I think building the fence after the fact was not a good idea. I mean, if we've got ordinances, why bother having anybody file for a permit if whether or not you get it doesn't matter? And going from the back of the house, that's our standard basically for most of the fences, so that would be fine. And leave more room for the variance that you need between the fence and the sidewalk. It's not enough, but, you know, it's not that big of a issue.
Okay. Mr. Ta?
I am in agreement with this proposal, taking it from the northwest corner of the house over. Also worried about the, as you say, Pandora's box, setting a precedent, and we just went over this with updating the UDO on things, and having sought a permit and then claiming afterwards, be it true from the heart and what you thought, regardless what is said as the UDO you provided for the permit, were denied, then your being denied would also prompt you to find out why you're denied and make adjustments to your proposal for variance again, or for reissuing your permit, and you did not. So I would say the happy median would be going from the northwest corner of the house. Yes, your fence is then compromised and you have to deal with the space between the fence and the sidewalk, but every resident in Wooddale has to deal with the same issues. I'm sorry that you have to go through the process, but I think this is the positive way to go and get it done.
Okay. Chairman Parenti?
Yeah, agreed with the code, like, if that's the way it's supposed to be, you know, and then you didn't get the permit before, like everybody else suggested, it should be fixed correctly.
Okay. All right. So I am going to propose a motion based on the submitted petition and the testimony presented. The proposed zoning variation is consistent with the Unified Development Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan, and therefore I move that the Community Development Commission adopt the findings of fact included within the staff memo dated May 18th, 2026, as the findings of the Community Development Commission, and recommend to the City Council approval of the zoning variation to allow a 6-foot-tall privacy fence in the staff-supported location from the northwest corner of the home, as stated in the CDC memo, in case number CDC 2026-0004. Do we have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Any second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. We will do a roll call on the motion. Mr. Guzik? No. Ms. Yeager-Rutnicki?
Now, we're talking about doing it against the house, back,
Yes. So it would be in the location,
like that.
in the staff-supported location extending from the northwest rear corner of the house, as stated in the CDC memo.
Yes.
Mr. Peterson? Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Ms. Zotko?
Yes.
Mr. Ta?
Yes.
Chairman Parenti?
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 votes in favor and 2 noes. The motion passes. Mr. Chairman, that concludes tonight's hearing. I cede the floor back to you.
Sure. Is there any report from staff, Goshen?
No.
Okay. If there's nothing else, we need a motion to adjourn the meeting. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned.